Hello and welcome to another episode of the Theo Keeps Talking podcast, where you may laugh or you may learn, available on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcasts. My name is Theo, and the most important question of the day: how are you all doing? Last episode, I had my future cousin-in-law, master designer, Ryan on. We talked about family, golf, sports, designing, mental health, all that. It was a blast. And check that out when you get a chance. Today is a celebration of something I literally never thought would happen. It is the podcast's 1 year anniversary. Kinda. My first ever episode was actually on March 1st, 2020, but hey, better late than never. For the recommendation section today, start with the music. We got Burn by Philippa Sue, How Far I'll Go by Alii Cravalho, Slow Dancing in the Dark by Joji again. And I need to preface this next one. I like the first 2 minutes and 16 seconds of Streets by Doja Cat. First 2 minutes and 16 seconds. I literally turned the song off every single time before that next part happens. Just putting that out there. Got some shows. This is more or less an update to what I said last episode. I watched Formula One Drive to Survive Season 3. It was fantastic as always. The Bahrain Grand Prix was last week, so they all tied together really well. I finished Last Chance U Basketball Edition. It was so good. Attack on Titan wrapped up the first half of Season 4, to which I might add, Attack on Titan might just be the most complete show I've ever watched. It's beyond good. Jujutsu Kaisen wrapped up their first season, off to a sensational start. I started this new show on Amazon Prime Video called Invincible, and it's really, really good so far. I can't really tell you why. That's kind of baked into how good it is, but it's an animated superhero show. A lot of good actors and actresses in it. There's only 3 episodes out right now. There might be 4 by tonight, but it is sensational. So check that out when you get a chance. Today, wow. I mean, here we are, a year later. And if you've listened to me before, you've heard me say this a million times, but I'm going to be reflecting on the moments and the episodes and the thoughts and all that over the past year. I just feel like slowing down and understanding where you are, no matter how you got here, and acknowledging all the highs and lows is super important. And you never want to lose sight of the moment. So today, I'm going to do that for this podcast. So it's kind of a year, and it kind of isn't. I posted the first ever episode on, I do believe it was March 21st of 2020, which is crazy. Like everyone's like, oh my God, time's flying. Yeah, it really is. It came out, March 21st, 2020. And I went for 4 or so weeks, and then I took like 4 months off. Then I came back swinging, and here we are. And just like here's some lessons learned I just gathered from the creative process, so to speak. It's okay to just start. Nobody's first anything is perfect. Something that's kind of embarrassing but funny. I don't do many things you could consider public work or anything like that. Not much of the stuff I do is out there for people to observe, right? I don't paint, I don't dance or compete in the arts, or I don't really create content like that, like YouTube videos or anything. But something that's hilarious is how one of the worst things I've ever created in terms of quality is now my third most viewed piece of content technically. So my podcast has analytics, and I'm not too deep into them. Like, I'm a numbers guy, but this podcast is for me. If nobody listened, that's fine. If everybody listened, that's fine too. But I can see the numbers of who listened to what episodes and all that. So my most publicly viewed anything is a TED Talk that I gave. And that's on YouTube. So that's in its own category. But my most popular podcast episode to date is the Cost of Life episode, which is the one where I literally told everyone on Instagram, hey, by the way, I have a podcast now. You know, like, it was me telling people, hey, I do this. I've been doing this for a little bit. Now I kind of want you to know too, right? And that episode was really just me being a nerd. But my second most listened to podcast episode, so my third most overall consumed content, is the intro. Guys, if you're listening to this one now and you've also listened to the intro, you know the difference. But oh my god, like, I in preparation for this episode, really just taking it all in, I re-listened to that intro, and what is even happening in it? I sound like I'm trying to be a host on a late night R&B and jazz radio station. You know what I'm saying? Like, I sound like I'm trying to welcome you to the quiet storm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, you know, what Drake song is that? Is it Final Fantasy? I think that's it. I think that's it. You know what? Let's look it up. Active search. Scorpion album. It's on the B side. I know that's for sure. It's After Dark. After Dark, Drake, Ty Dolla $ign. At the very end, listen to the part at the end of the song. That's what I sound like, or at least what I'm trying to do. And I'm just thinking, what is the point here? What am I doing? You know, I remember I recorded that at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I didn't know how my microphone really worked. I didn't know how to balance out the sound or anything like that. I mean, I sound so quiet. I didn't even have an intro. And I mean, I could barely make it through the first 30 seconds without just dying. Just like, please, someone end this right now. And I also had really bad vocal fry. If you don't know what vocal fry is, it's like when you're saying and all your words go like that at the end, right? I sound like that, and somebody save me, please, right? And you know, I just think that it's so interesting because I didn't even make a intro or recommendation section of what I was doing, like, formally into the intro of the podcast for a while. So, I mean, I didn't even promote the podcast until like episode 7. Like, and I think a maximum of 4 people total knew I had a podcast before I mentioned it on my Instagram, you know, and thank God I didn't. Nobody needed to hear that intro live, because if I had told people, hey, here's my first episode, when that was it, oh, nobody would have come back. Like, what's the point? I sounded like that. Please, somebody save that dude. He needs some milk. All right, so past episodes and all that, I've done some other reflections. Like, I would say legitimately I listened to the first episode and then it was rough. I listened to the second one, and the second one was better. Like, I sound a little bit better, a little more cohesive with my thoughts, and understanding the sound a little bit better. It's a little bit louder, and then it kind of gets better and better and better over time. I feel like I really started taking off like in the direction I wanted to. Was like when I was doing like the Race in America series, where I was like, okay, perhaps more than 2 people will listen to this. So let's really make this sound good, be good, right? And then I might as well just transition into that. So just reflecting on everything in the year, let's talk about racism just in general. how much I learned by doing that series. I would say that just in general, if you asked me, racism, this was not a completely unilateral experience for white people. I learned a lot about racism too. I learned that it's so much deeper than there was slavery, then there was Reconstruction, there was the Great Depression, there was the Civil Rights Movement, and then there was George Floyd, right? I understand that there's so much more, and how it would take a successive series of decades of legislation and public understanding to fix what happened. Think of it this way. Slavery, it started in the 1600s, 1609, 1610, 1611, something like that. Early 1600s. 1619, there we go. Slavery as an institution, meaning what European countries going to Africa, stealing our ancestors and bringing them to like places like Brazil, Latin America, and what would eventually be the United States. Slavery has existed as in that format longer than it hasn't, if you really think about it. If you just do, it's really quick maths. We'll just cut everything off at Juneteenth, basically, right? So if you do it, 1865 minus 1619, because that's when it started, is 246 years, right? But 2021 minus 1865 is 156 years. So slavery as a legal institution, at the very least, the legal enslavement and restriction of any free will, economic freedom, social status, or anything like that, what the legal captivity of other human beings and mistreatment of other human beings has lasted almost 100 years longer than it hasn't lasted. So when you have a situation where people are just saying, oh, it's so long ago, you would need the only counter to something being so long ago is when you have rapid development to counter it in the shorter amount of time, right? It's not going to happen. I feel comfortable saying that. It's not going to happen. If it hasn't happened yet, why would it happen in the future? If we're looking at a situation where I did an entire episode based on the racial wealth gap, and I did it kind of a follow-up episode talking about unpaid internships, right? Where I understand that there are people who are afraid of things like socialism. They're afraid of things basically being more equal for more people, because like that's a scary mindset. But if you look at how many aspects of American society, economics, and all of those things negatively impact people, you see that a lot of it's based in race and in class. And if you purposefully dislike a race, you'll put them in the lowest class. It's pretty straightforward. There's no other way of describing how you feel about people than to legally make them unable to vote for what they want. I mean, look at the state of Georgia. They're still actively trying to make it so that it's harder to vote. Is that not crazy to you? It's 2021. 2021. The state of Georgia, home to Atlanta, is still actively trying to make it harder to vote. And it's just such a straightforward problem. They understand that the more the people in charge understand, the more you get minority people to vote, the more likely that the people in power will lose. I mean, that's just on the political side. That means if they stay in power, they won't pass things that minority residents of Georgia need. They don't get them, and it's harder for them to, say, get jobs, get health care, adequate transportation, adequate education. So if someone has those factors going against them, how did they succeed? Versus the top percentage of people, I mean, their kids are born into a trust fund. Their kids are born in a really nice environment where they don't ever have to think about what they're going to eat the next day, or they don't have to think about whether they're going to go to college or not. They can choose whether or not they want to and still have money. And that was a crazy realization I had, learning that, man, people have fought harder for what I want right now than I have, and we're still nowhere near where we need to be. Watching that video, that Derek Chauvin's on trial right now, and we all watched that video, and that there's still a chance he won't be indicted. There's still a chance. And I know you're like, how? We saw it. Well, this is the most clear as day one, but there's probably been plenty that went just like that we didn't see, and the police responsible didn't get charged. Plenty. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be hurt. I'd be very unhappy. But I wouldn't be surprised. That's how this country is. Well, why don't you just leave, Theo? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I was stolen from the country I'm from, technically. My ancestors were. Therefore, I only know America. Of course I'm going to stay. I can hate it and love it, but I'm still going to stay. You think I have the assets to pick up and go somewhere else? That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. One of the things that I noticed was in 2015, 2016, that range of time, how many things are tied to race and class. We're gonna do them both, race and class. That someone peacefully protesting is inherently against the nature of the country, so much so that people will get very, very angry about it. And even though that person said, I shall consult someone who was in the military, received one of the highest distinctions ever on how I should protest what I want to protest, while getting people to notice what I am protesting about, so we can talk about what needs to change. That he took that direct solicited advice, and people still hate this man because he's pointing out something. Him pointing out something made me realize that it's not just you can assume people will agree with you topic of racism and the role the United States government has held in perpetuating racism on a day-to-day basis. Merely as insinuating that this country has disadvantaged people of color makes other people angry is a crazy thing to think about. And that's what I learned in 2016. Talking about the fact that America is directly at fault for allowing, purporting, and never fixing legal racism and its ramifications made people mad. Just saying, yeah, America did this. The police did this. Your congressperson did this. Makes them mad. I just don't get it. I'll never love America that much. The only way I could love America is if no matter where I went, because someone said so, like some politician said so, wherever I went, I got free everything. And I'd still hate it. Because I want everyone to have free everything. You know? There's nothing they can do. But then I thought about it. Well, duh. Theo. Unbothered white people don't have the chip on their shoulder like you do. There is no past oppression for them to have gone through. They don't deal with it. There is no uniting force like racism for Black Americans, like for Asian Americans, like for Hispanic Americans, like there have been for white Americans. White Americans do not have that. They do not have this natural distrust of the country from a human rights perspective. And me understanding that actually makes a difference in how we think, it was an epiphany. My head was spinning. Shared trauma can do a lot of things. And understanding that someone not going through what they could have gone through had they been Black, Asian, Hispanic is crazy. If you think of it like this, what's the hardest thing you deal with racism? How would your life be easier? Get rid of it. How would you get rid of it? Oh, I have a list. For someone who doesn't go through racism, what's that thing? What is the hardest thing they go through? Especially let's just talk about it from a completely transparent perspective. If you're a white man, what is the hardest thing you go through systemically? What is it? Because put it this way, if we start out in the same area, like if I'm Baltimore County, he's Baltimore County, I'm going to go through naturally more things. There's no profiling involved for him. There's no economic discrimination that's based on race as a subsection of class or a Venn diagram of class. I don't know how you describe it. A fusion dance of class. Let's do it that way. Because that doesn't happen. Right? There's no educational discrimination. I mean, obviously people will push back. Oh, but affirmative action. Oh, please. 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 My grades are great. I don't want to hear it. Anyway. What is it? What is the thing that does it put me in fight or flight mode all the time? If the situation calls for it, yeah. I can list several discriminatory actions taken against me in my life because of just the way I look, things said to me, assumptions made about me because I look the way I look, right? Those things unite Black people. It makes you not like where you are. What is that for other people? And then I learned that since that's not it, since that foundational premise is not there, that if I were to walk in a room and he were to walk in a room, things would be different on an average scale. That if I were to back up, if I were to go back in time, my ability to do things would actually go away. For him, it'd be the same. 100% of all opportunities are still available. For me, it's less and less and less and less as you go back in time. And that those shared negative experiences with black people coming from not only us, but my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, passing those things down to me, I cannot just simply be unbothered and love America. It does not love me. But I pay taxes. But I pay taxes. You know what I mean? I think that's why you can love it so much. If it never hurts you, you can love something, can't you? If it never hurts you. But the systems in place hurt me. The systems in place will hurt my children. I'll do my best to make it not hurt my children. But the systems in place do that. But if I were to live a place where I was never discriminated against, what? If I was had equal opportunity to everything I wanted as my white male counterparts, sure. How am I to say no to that? What? Couldn't even imagine. What is that? What would that place be called? Minecraft? I guess, right? Minecraft, The Sims. It can't be real. It can't be real. Let's talk about something else. Close the book on racism. For the final thought. Final closing thoughts. I think this was a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar quote. And I'm going to paraphrase it. You can't see all the dust in your room until direct sunlight hits it. You ever notice that? You get some direct sunlight and you're driving, you see all like the dust on like the dashboard of your car or in your room. You're like, whoa, don't want to breathe that in. But you don't notice it when it's raining or when it's dark. You don't see it. We got to see racism as a construct and racism as a debate topic in 2015, 16, 20, and 21. Right now, the main afflicted group is the Asian community. I will do everything it takes to be there for them as an ally, as a advocate, whatever it takes, because I could not even tell you the lowest of lows I was in when it's, black Americans and the treatment we get. For anyone listening who is seeing and diligent enough to understand what's going on with the Asian community, it's very straightforward. For me, as a, I guess, representative of the black community who will have a half Filipino wife and have Filipino children, all of that, this is an us versus racism thing. Straightforward. It's not a black versus white, not a black versus Asian, nothing like that. It's never anything like that. It's us versus racism. If you choose not to fight wholeheartedly against racism, you're not on my side. That's it. Let's talk about life. A life reflection. So, what's going on just in a year? I did a year-end reflection episode in like December, January, I don't know, where I summarized all of 2020. But I have some new ones. I mentioned this in my very first ever episode, but I'm gonna mention it again. I was born in 97. And I remember growing up that there was this huge distinction, especially like when you're 18, 19, 20 years old. What are you? Are you Gen Z? Are you millennial? You know what I'm saying? What are you? I kept being told that the cutoff was 96. So I would be Gen Z. But back then, Gen Z didn't have much of an identity, especially when I was 16. That meant I was I would be the leading charge of whoever's Gen Z. That's what that meant, right? Now Gen Z is fully awoken, fully formed, out of the iceberg, you could say. In this analogy, Appa out of the iceberg, Appa is TikTok and carries Gen Z all the way through its majesty, right? So I've learned that I wholeheartedly love being Gen Z. That was my takeaway in the past year. I love it. It is amazing. It is so much fun being Gen Z. Want to know why? Because the millennials are, get this right. Here's my quote. Here's my official quote. In case the feds ever come, millennials are weird. They're just weird. It's coming to me every in waves. They're weird. Gen Z's weird, but in a funny way. Millennials are just angsty. Like, what? Harry Potter this, Harry Potter that, Huffle Snuff. Stop. Christ. Like, stop it. All right? It's just so bad. And trust me, I understand. I am the boomer zoomer. That's exactly right. I am the oldest Gen Z maybe on earth. Like, if you were born in 97, you're the oldest set of Gen Z out there, right? Boomer zoomer, I claim it. And trust me, there's some things I don't get that they do. It like the length. It's the this for me. I'll never say that shit. No, stop it. I'll never say that shit either. Okay, I get it. No, I trust. I shall not ever do that. Okay, it will not happen. There's a lot that both gens do that I don't agree with, and I don't find myself fitting into. But if I had to pick to be older or younger, I'm picking to be younger every single time. You understand? I was a 19-year-old doing taxes. There's nothing older than that. All right, I'm gonna claim my youth. Okay, I'm gonna claim it. Gen Z for life. Oh, another thing. There's this whole debate about whether you're a 90s kid or not, because now all the quote unquote people born in 1990 are at least 21 now. Yeah, everyone who was born the year that was everyone who was born before the year 2000 is at least 21. Will be at least be 21 by the end of this year. So the discussion now is like, are you a 90s kid or not? And to which I will say no, I was not, and I never pretended to be. I was a 2000s kid. I was a 90s baby. Like, for example, my memory started to form in the year 2000. So I don't remember really anything that happened before then. It's hard to be a 90s kid if you're not embracing what's happening in the 90s. If you can't even remember it. You know what I mean? Like, the first few things I remember just in general was like the 2001 NBA Finals is one of the very first things I remember. I remember Michael Jordan being a wizard, like a Washington Wizard. That's what I remember, you know. Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, Hannah Montana, Kids Next Door, Foster's Home, Ed, Edd and Eddy, SpongeBob. Like, SpongeBob's literally the exact duration of my life, I think. I think the first episode of SpongeBob came out in 98 or 99. So that's a 2000s kid show. And that's what I am. Avatar: The Last Airbender, probably the greatest show ever. I'm down to say that. Like, The Wire, the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones, Avatar: The Last Airbender. All in that S+ tier. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, like, that's really where I fit in. Beyblades, yeah. I was late to the Pokemon craze. Like, if I really think about it, the very first Pokemon game that came out that I can remember, like, hitting the shelves was Ruby and Sapphire. That's, like, the games that came out right when I was, like, young, right? I did have a Game Boy Color, but, like, Gold, Silver, and Crystal came out in, like, 99 or 2000 or something like that. So I didn't have nearly enough understanding of what was going on in life when I was 3 to, play Pokemon, other than gather a Typhlosion and worry about nothing else, because that's just not how things work. So yeah, I'm a 2000s kid, and I'm completely okay with that. Like, that's just how things are. I'm too young now. Like, for example, I'm too old now for some of the new things. Like, I remember I was a camp counselor at one point in time, and the kids, I was 21, 22, and the kids were 12 and 13. And they were talking about Roblox, right? And I was like, what is that? Is that Minecraft? And they're like, what? And I'm like, what do you mean, what? And then, if I'm not mistaken, Roblox just, like, IPO'd or something like that. Like, and that's my full, complete, and total understanding of Roblox, because they IPO'd. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so funny that's how I think about it, I watched one YouTube video of, like, these streamers' wifey watches playing it, and I was like, oh, I kind of get what's going on, but I still don't really get it at all. It's like the way they were playing it looked like GTA with Minecraft characters. Now I'm like, this is crazy, but hey, it is what it is. Excuse me, just burped. Dang. Shout out coconut water. Oh, one thing to add, I love coconut water now. This is BAI, BAI, antioxidant cocoa fusion, 10 calories per bottle, Molokai coconut, fire. Let's see. Oh, and one more thing about life, just in general, total life, before I specify something. I still do not like astrology. I cannot stand it. Think of it this way. I gave it an attempt. I tried. There was an attempt. I am an Aries, born on a full moon. So, like, I'm like the avatar of the Aries. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get the strongest attributes of everything about us. You know what I'm saying? And I learned that me being an Aries has something to do with, like, why I'm just so competitive over the dumbest things, or why I need to be right literally all the time. But I just can't handle other people. Like, other people and their fascination with some space rocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it got so bad. It got so bad that I muted my own astrological sign on Twitter. I couldn't take it. Like, people were trying to decide if March Aries or April Aries were better. And I was just like, no, I don't want to see this anymore. Like, I muted half of the other signs last year. And this week was the final straw. I saw a tweet trying to explain the Quavo Saweetie altercation. Truthfully, Quavo assaulted her, but that's another serious discussion for another day. But they explained it by describing each of their placements to further it. I had seen enough. Like, what does Quavo's what have to do with the fact that he assaulted her? That's it. And I saw that tweet and I was like, it's streets is done. All right. Like, I understand if you're using space rocks to further understand yourself, especially if you've never had a good habit of deep introspection. I get it. But being annoying about it on the timeline and projecting it into other people, nah. Like, oh my God, we can't. Oh, your rising is a scorpion. Looks like we can't be friends. I'm just like, stop. You're a whole ass adult. Some rocks 16 million light years away should not tell you, should not determine how you're going to interact as a human being. God. Like, oh my God, I'm just in such a bad mood. I heard that Pluto is in retrograde all week long. I just can't stop it. Drink some tea. Get it, take a nap, go outside, touch some grass, and get it together. God. Anyway. Next topic. God, space rocks, yo. Like, come on. Who came up with this? Space rocks, man. Y'all are like, yep, this Venus will determine my mood today. What? Eat some fruit. Maybe that'll determine your mood. All right? God. Anyway. Next topic. COVID-19. So, my opinion on COVID, now we're a year removed of it. It's hard, man. I think of it this way. I've never had more ability to sleep in my entire life. Of all of the bad dreams I've had, of all like the dreams where I'm like, what is going on? Or I don't like how I feel when I wake up. 99% of them involve COVID. Like it makes me anxious. Because I live with an 80-something-year-old grandmother. I know her actual age, but an 80-something-year-old grandmother, a 60-something-year-old diabetic father, and a 50-plus-year-old mother who works in senior care facilities, right? I get nervous and anxious for them. It's not about me. It's about them. And watching people on the timeline in 4K, in Nintendo 64K, go out to bars and clubs, you're never going to see me again. I hope you realize that. You're never going to see me again. If you set foot in a club at all since March 17th, 2020, I hope you don't, and you're not vaccinated, I hope you can understand that we're not cool anymore. Just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Restaurant, I'll allow it. Gym, I'll allow it. You got to stay in shape, right? A club, please. Your personality is tied to the clubs, bro. Read a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure. Please. It's just messing with me. I follow the Maryland like health department Twitter. So every day I know how many cases there are. I know it every day. I've known it every day since this time last year and earlier, right? I just until I get vaccinated, I'm going to check. And when I get vaccinated, I might check every other day. Like the weather. Like I'm going to check how many COVID cases there are. Like it's the weather. You know, I need to know. I'll always need to know. My grandmother's getting fully vaccinated in like a week. I'll still check every day, if not every other day. It just bothers me that much. I just remember when the state of Maryland said, like, yeah, basically we're open again. And everyone said, finally. What? It's not safe all because it's open. All because a building is on fire. And then the fire marshal's like, you can go in. Are you going to go in? People. Anyway, I want to say this. COVID. I did an episode where I was really unhappy. It's called Life is Hard. Check it out. Don't check it out. I'm just saying you can if you want. And I was being very transparent about my emotional state. That's the last bad day I've had in a really long time. Was that day I recorded that, so we're chilling. But I was like, hey, people have bad days, and I've never come on here saying I've had a bad day, so I'm going to show you my bad day. And during that process, I said that, yeah, at the rate we're going, I'm not going to get vaccinated until November. Like, I meant November of this year, like 2021. Well, that's not the case anymore because the governor said, yeah, you can register today. So I was like, on God, I can register to get vaccinated today. And he was like, on God. And I was like, okay, so I'm getting vaccinated. Yay. I'm getting vaccinated. I was like, dang, that's kind of cool for real. So it won't be November. I'll be fully vaccinated in like a couple weeks. So put the Fauci ouchie on me. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag Fauci ouchie. You know what I mean? But hey, I'm going to get stimmied up. Bank account stimulated. Immune system stimulated. So, hey. Let's talk about the Suez Canal. It kind of ties into COVID. Let's talk about the Suez Canal. So a gigantic ship that apparently is the length of the Empire State Building or something like that, which is crazy. That's not factual. I didn't check it up, but I heard. I heard that it got stuck sideways, right? It just parallel double parked that. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit. And it got stuck. And I heard that it kind of tied in with COVID because someone, like, I was listening to this podcast. By the way, funniest podcast you'll ever listen to is called the Jenkins and Jones podcast. I'm just going to put that out there. I have yet to shout it out. It's the funniest podcast ever. I laugh every single time. I'm uncontrollably laughing every single time. It's so funny. They were talking about the bubonic plague. And they said that, because back then they thought, because, you know, when like when people say bless you, they think you're going to die. It's because of the Black Plague, right? So they were saying that because people thought illnesses back then were curses for bad behavior, that they didn't have modern medicine or anything. So the only way that people survived the Black Plague was quarantining. Right? Isn't that crazy? They said that in Europe, what they would do is they would have the people coming in, bringing shipments in, stay on their boats for 40 days before they unloaded them and then leave, right? Apparently, the Latin word for quarantine means 40 days, which is wild. Like, because quora, 4, and then teens like 10. So it's called quarantine because it's 40 days. And my head just exploded. I was like, what? No way. But it's true. That's where quarantine came from. Because it literally saved all of the remainder of humanity, Attack on Titan style. Like the remainder of humanity in Europe. Because they made people stay on their ships for 40 days. And that's the only way they defeated the Black Plague. Well, after it completely killed all of them. But you know what I mean. The remaining people. And I'm just like, man, that is a crazy, crazy fact. So quarantining saved people from the worst thing ever. And yet we're we're like 800 years later with modern medicine. And nope, people still want to go to bars. Like, who, you're trying to kiss a stranger in a pandemic? Oh my. You're trying to drink after somebody in a Anyway, let's just close. Close. Yeah, let's close. So, I haven't really said this yet in this episode, but I'm 24 years old now. My birthday was a little bit ago, March 23rd. It is currently April 2nd, so my birthday was last week. I'm 24. And that's hence why I was saying I'm a boomer zoomer, right? I am a 24-year-old Gen Z. I'm in the oldest bracket. I'm also in the 1% for the first time in my life because I'm in the 1% of people to have 2 quarantine birthdays. I counted as 4. So March 17th was the day I came home. I keep playing with my coconut water because I want to drink it. But my first day of quarantine, March 17th. My birthday's March 23rd. So if you do the math, it's 3 days. It's 6 days later. So 3 divided by 365 is like 0.016. So I'm just gonna round down for the purposes of flexing and say I'm in the first 1% of people to have 2 quarantine birthdays. Like, it's crazy. 1%. To have two of them, two quarantine birthdays. That isn't even, like, what? It's already been a year. And I'm 24. So, as is customary, I got to do a 24-year-old man. I'm old now. I'm in my mid-20s. And that sentence kind of shakes me. I'm in my mid-20s. I mean, I do taxes, so this is all new. My knees gave up when I was like 19, so it is what it is, right? Some things I've learned, some reflections. This is a 24-year-old reflection. My first podcast episode since turning 24. My first reflection out loud for the people. This year I found out what I really like. Just what I really like about anything. I really like anime. In this year, since my last birthday, started and finished like Hunter x Hunter, My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, and like watching Pokemon and Naruto, and it's just been fun. I really, really enjoy it. What else do I like? I really like basketball. I knew that, but I didn't know that to the extent that I found out now. My knowledge of the game of basketball is like a set. Like if you're putting like Greg Popovich at a 10, I'm at like a 7. Now if you're saying some guy at a bar is like a 6, then I'm at a 10. Like I know too much now. I know way too much. My basketball abilities like peaked at like 1920, and now like 1920 years old. Not the year 1920. Oh, good Lord. But old as hell. But I was like 19 or 20 when I was really good. Well, better than I've ever been. And then now I'm 24 and I golf. You know what I'm saying? It's all about golf now. And just like the stuff I know. I could do a whole episode just detailing everything I know about basketball. And it would be really, really nerdy. But just think of it this way, right? Since our last episode, I talked about March Madness with my cousin. And I talked about like the upsets and stuff. And Drexel played Illinois. And Illinois lost in the next game after Drexel, which makes me think, wow, what if we actually beat them, right? That would be crazy, right? I watched Illinois play Drexel. And the grade A, like the basic level of understanding is, wow, Illinois is just a better team, right? The grade 2 understanding is Illinois' players are bigger and faster than our players, giving them an advantage on both ends of the floor. And then there's my understanding. And if you want to just skip until I start talking about the next thing, which will be video games and stuff, please skip the nerding out I'm about to do. But if you want to learn something very, very high level about why Drexel lost to Illinois, I am about to tell you, okay? Here's what happened. In that game, not only did Illinois have more points in the paint by like 8 minutes left in the second half than we had total points, they were executing the high pick and roll perfectly, and we couldn't do it. Here's the breakdown, right? If you stayed and you want to know, I'll go as slowly as possible, right? The concept of a high pick and roll is simple. There's a guy, he's usually smaller, who's going to get a screen to get his defender out of the way so that the bigger guy has to make a decision in the paint on what he's going to do. So you're trying to get your guard going downhill. And a high pick and roll. So a regular pick and roll would usually start below the 3-point line. A high pick and roll starts way out, usually at the 3-point line, so the guard can make a decision and pull up for a 3 if they want to, or slither in, not slither in, but snake his way into the mid range and make the defense shift, right? So the concept is get the smaller defender trailing behind you and make the bigger defender, who's probably either 11 or 15 feet from the basket in this scenario, make a decision on whether to try and contest your three or stop your layup. Generally what happens is, if you are a really good shooter, really good ball handler, all that, you're going to understand that they're either trying to sell out to stop you from making the three, or sag off because they want you to take the mid-range and try and stop your layup, right? So our former CAA freshman of the year, Cameron Winter, James Butler comes up on the high screen. He usually went left, right? He usually goes left, and generally, if you're a big enough body, or the guard that's getting screened is, a smaller body or just an average athlete, they won't be able to get back into the play to defend the ball handler, right? But not only was Illinois, his name is Coburn, right? Not only was Illinois' big dude really good at contesting mid-range jump shots, but Desomu, who was Illinois' guard, he was really fast. And James Butler, I mean, he's a big dude, but he wasn't bigger than Desomu or the dudes they play in the Big Ten to, go, like, to be a big enough body to set a good enough screen, right? So Desomu he would fly past the screen and just contest the shot. So the guard can still guard our guard. That does a lot of words. The guy who was getting screened is still contesting the shot. That's not what's supposed to happen. So that makes it so that there's no advantage given on the pick and roll. Coburn's like 7 feet tall. Cameron Winter's like 6'2", 6'3". So there's no one out there who's really in the D1 level taking a layup to the body of a 7-footer. It's not going to happen, let alone someone from Drexel. It's just facts, right? So basically, they were blowing up our high pick and roll, right? On the other end. And so we couldn't score using the most efficient scoring tool other than a layup. We couldn't do it, right? On the other end, they would run the high pick and roll on us, but their big man was so big, he would set a screen that Cameron literally could never get around. It looked like he was trying to run around the side of a bus. I'm just like, damn. So, Big Ten Player of the Year, Desomu, is just navigating his way into the paint. And here's James Butler, who's food. Our big dude was food for Desomu. And I'm just like, I hate this. So literally every time that pick would come, Cameron could not get around that, John. And Desomu would just pull up for a mid-range, or Hezi pull up or go into the layup. He would kick it out for a three. When they would overhelp, they were killing us. Now, considering I've now literally thoroughly talked about basketball as high of a level as you possibly could, because that's a good enough sample for me today, let's talk about video games. Video games. If you ever skipped ahead and you were listening now, we're talking about video games, right? I've tried some new games this year. 24 years old. I've tried some new games. I love Stardew Valley. It's so good. It's so much fun. It's such a good game, right? Allie and I play it together. We obviously, one of the things you can do is marry the villagers in Stardew Valley, which we're not going to do because we're playing together. But it is so much fun. I love it. There's very few games I've enjoyed to the extent of Stardew Valley. Like, she was like, hey, babe, I want to play this game. And I looked at it. I was like, I've heard of this, but I don't know what I'm doing. And then we just started playing, and I'm like, I want to play every day. I don't want to go to work. I just want to play. There's very few games where I've been as locked into I want to play, and I do not care about anything else that happens. I want to play this game. And that was one of them. It was so good. It was so much fun. I literally love it so much. Let's talk about Valorant. I suck. That's how it is. I suck at Valorant. Now, is my laptop old? Yes. Is it a gaming PC? No. So, obviously, that's going to have some issues. I would still suck no matter what. My first ever PC game that I ever played that wasn't like an arcade game was Valorant. So, I'm used to playing COD and stuff. I'm terrible. WASD was a whole new way of life for me. And I'm so bad at it. And the hard part is, it's so long. Like, even if you get like stomped, it's like a 30-minute game. You're just going to play for 30 minutes just to be unhappy the entire time. It's so frustrating. I don't have anyone to play with because my rank is too low to play with anybody. And on top of that, when you suck, everyone's just toxic. So I'm like out here going like 5-12 and everyone's clowning me. And I'm like, yep, I know I'm terrible and I'm trying to get better. But they don't want to help me get better because I'm bad. So it's just like, so bad. Branching off, I love esports. I need to reach out to my old professor so I can get him on an episode so we can talk about it. I love esports so much, so much, so much. Favorite company in the world is called 100 Thieves. Esports company, lifestyle company, gaming company. Love them. I love esports. I literally went from on March 18th knowing nothing about League of Legends to on March 20th knowing everything I needed to about competitive League of Legends. It was amazing. I literally just watched it every day. Like just documentaries and past world championships. And I was just so ready to learn. You know what I mean? I was so excited. What else? Yeah, esports. Go esports. Go esports. It helps me not get as hurt when the Cowboys go 8-8 again, because it just hurts every time that happens. What else? Oh, another thing at 24. I found out my social battery has a limit. Like my job, we're talking about going back to work, right? And they asked, how often do you want to go to work? And I said, I don't. I really don't. Like, obviously, you know, like, eventually we're going to have to. But literally, I'm thinking to myself, if I can go for every 5-day stretch, 2 days in the office and 3 days at home, that's perfectly fine. Because, I mean, I don't go to work to hang out. It's work. That's why it's called work. You know what I mean? Like, can I talk someone's head off? Yeah, I have a podcast. Of course I can talk someone's head off. But, like, why go to work? I'm just as efficient at the crib, so I might as well just save on the commute time, protect the environment, no gas, like, stop using as much gas and stuff like that, cook more at home, all that, right? There's no point to me, but I don't get to make the decision. It's not on me. But yeah, man, 24. I'm 24. The year 23 was wild. I was just at home all the time, but I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about just my habits and just ways to improve individually. I learned I can be creative. Like, I made a podcast, you know? I don't even know what the number episode this is because I stopped numbering them on purpose because I would forget eventually. And here I am. Already forgot. But hey, I mean, one day I remember one day, back to like the whole content creation thing and how you just never know how it's going to add up. I remember I took a class. It was called Digital Media 101. And I'm an accountant. Like, what do I need to know about digital media? Like, if you're in marketing, I get it. But I do taxes. Just take some Excel classes, man. But I took a class, Digital Media 101, and they showed basically how to work in the Adobe suite. So a little bit of Lightroom, a little bit of Photoshop, a little bit of Illustrator, right? And it was so nice. Like, I learned a lot, right? And then I realized, like, how am I going to apply this? And then boom, all of a sudden made a logo for my podcast. I made like Ryan's, like if you saw it on Instagram, I had a picture of Ryan in the backdrop of the episode. And I was like, hey, I think I can be a little slick with it. You know what I'm saying? Sure. But, you know, it's fun sometimes. And, you know, I had a lot of fun doing that. And, yeah, so you can do it. You know what I mean? Like, if I can do it, you can do it for real. I want to leave on some quotes that I found and just like why I do reflections in the first place. So I heard this one quote, kind of paraphrasing. A healthy man wants 1,000 things. A sick man wants one. And that just hit me. Like, we're so we're focused on so many unnecessary things. Just like, I've been trying to really like narrow it down. How's my family? How's my girlfriend? How's her family? How's my health? And that's really it, man. It's like focus on what's really gonna be there long term. You only got one life. Make sure you're healthy. Make sure you're feeling okay. Make sure your mental is good. Make sure your physical is good. Go from there. There's this quote. I still haven't seen the movie, but I heard the quote from the movie. There's like a scene in it. There's a fish who was in the ocean, and he was a fish. Yeah, he was a fish in the ocean, and wanted to get to the ocean. He didn't understand he was in it, and he said, I want the ocean, someone, and they were like, you're in it, and he was like, no. This is water. I want the ocean. And I was like, huh, look at that. Sometimes you just don't know. You're in a good situation. Do I have a roof over my head? Yep. Are any of my family members sick? Nope. Do I have a job? Yep. Do I have friends? Yep. Relationship? Yep. I got it all, man. Like, just being grateful for what's going on, just for, my health, just thinking about all the things that I need in my life, and trying to eliminate all the things that are negative and all that. You live a better life, and just understanding where to put your priorities and where to put your priorities, and where you can find happiness it's so much simpler than you think, but I mean, it's so much more complex, but you can make it really simple. And focusing on the right things has helped me a lot, just with my mental and, just taking, steps day by day. And, there's light at the end of the tunnel sometimes. Like in December, I did not think there was. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. Now I'm in April. I'm a little older, got a little more pep in my step. No, I don't. I sit at my house all day. But, just finding things to be happy about. And, it's a little nicer outside. You know what I'm saying? The weather looking a little... But yeah, I'm really thankful for having a podcast, because sometimes it literally makes me stop and think about what happened this week, or now every 2 weeks. It makes me think about it. What did I do? What, how did I feel? And listening to the other ones, it makes me remember, like, yeah, you did listen. You watched this show then. You liked this song then. I remember this was funny on Twitter. You know what I mean? Just being able to appreciate what's going on, because time is flying for I no longer feel like college was like really recently, because it's not, like it's been a year, but this year feels like forever. I kept saying it last year, like, oh man, like even though I was in July, like, man, I was just in college, man. I was just in college. I don't feel like that anymore. It's time to it's time to think about family, you know what I mean? But just understand that you get one life, and do with it what you want, but make sure you understand what that means. It doesn't, no do-overs, no trying again. You're not going to be 21 again. I'm old, So I've just been trying to be thankful for everything that I have. So, I hope that me talking about it can also help somebody else, can also, just influence how you think about yourselves, because if I know you, I feel like we're all in good positions, and I feel like there's always something to be thankful for. So, to close, wow, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully we got another year in us. I don't know if I'm about to take another hiatus. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? The weather looking a little bussin', but hey, thank you for tuning in. I really very much appreciate it. About to go cop some food. Hope you all have a wonderful day, night, weekend, and I'll catch you all next time.